What is going on, everybody? It is 10:13. We're a couple of minutes early, but hey, why the hell not? It's Friday night. We're here to have some fun.
What'd you say? A couple of minutes? We're a couple of minutes early.
Yes,
I thought we were a couple of minutes late.
I set it up for 10:15 tonight.
Oh,
assuming we might have a long overrun like we did last week, and we did not end up. That did not end up being.
Oh, then we're early. So that's
yes, we're technically early. But we're also late in comparison to when we usually come on. So we're either late or early, depending on.
Why don't you just say that we're a bunch of disorganized bastards? We don't know what the hell we're doing.
I would just say that we're early.
Yeah, we're early. We scheduled it for 10:15, and we've been bullshitting for 60 seconds now, and we're still early. So here we go. It is Smack Talk here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube. The Sportskeeda Wrestling Facebook page and the Wrestle Binge by Sportskeeda YouTube channel, assuming I set up everything correctly tonight. Welcome in, everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody joining us. As always, make sure to interact, get your comments in, get those super chats in. That's the way to get your comment guaranteed read on the air is with a super chat. We always appreciate the support. We got Lisa and we got Howdy in the Wyatt 6. Hopefully not the actual Wyatt 6 in the show tonight, or take over the show, and we can just end early. Either way, it's all good. We could end before we're technically supposed to begin. We got Enthusiastic Railline Steamer. We got Ozzy in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Bill Baker in the chat. As always, appreciate you guys joining us here on a Friday night. We got a lot to discuss. We had a United States Championship match tonight. We had a women's #1 contenders tag team, tornado tag team match tonight, in which it was guaranteed we were either going to have a new #1 contender or one member of the women's roster was going to have to leave SmackDown permanently. So, of course, neither of those two things happened tonight. We had a 6-man tag team match in the main event tonight that was supposed to feature one team, ended up not featuring that team. We got a different team, and then everybody got their ass whooped. And Kevin Owens is still teasing a heel turn. We have a lot to discuss in the chat tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But first things first, guys, as you know, you both well know, and as those who are watching may or may not know, there was some news that broke this week, some reporting that came out this week. Now, it's not official. WWE has not said anything yet, but this news directly affects us and this show, so we got to talk about it. Apparently, according to WrestleVotes, as reported on here on Sportskeeda, he's partnering with us now. SmackDown is moving to 3 hours in January. It will be going on from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock, which means we would be on, presumably, at 11:10.
Why don't we just go?
Unless the final hour is watch along, baby. I don't know. But 3 hour SmackDown starting in January. Dutch, your reaction?
Why don't we just go all night? Why don't we get No Doze to sponsor us, and people take a bunch of those, and we stay up to like 5 o'clock talking about SmackDown? Why don't we just do that? I think we'd keep an audience. No, we keep an audience. Yeah, a lot of people don't sleep at night. Believe me,
I'm one of them.
And a lot of people will stay up all night long just to watch wrestling. Just to talk about wrestling. Whether they're right or wrong, it don't matter.
I mean, Sid, he's got a point. You've stayed up all hours of the night to watch New Japan.
It's like 3 a.m. here in the UK right now. Can only imagine when it's 3 hour SmackDowns. I'm gonna have to go back to the US when it comes to 3 hour SmackDowns, because I'm not staying up till 4 a.m. to do a no show. I am sorry. Folks. That's not gonna be me. But does the SmackDown roster have enough people on? It sometimes feels like a stretch for them to get to 2 hours with the current roster of individuals that they have. They literally would have to do a draft in December to give them more people to make it possible for them to do a 3 hour show.
Well, how many people would it take to do 3 hours? They did it before. How many people?
No, SmackDown's never been 3 hours.
Okay, Raw. How big is their roster?
Though they always get more people in the draft because they have 3 hours.
Yeah, so it's always a 60-40 split of the roster. So whenever they do the draft, typically Raw gets 3 picks around, SmackDown gets 1 pick around, or more faction. However they've done it over the years, more factions end up going up to fill up the roster on Raw. But that's the from a logistical standpoint for WWE. That's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because the Raw roster is currently stacked for a 3-hour show. The SmackDown roster is stacked for a 2-hour show. And for the rest of this year anyway, Raw's going to 2 hours. So some of those people are going to be sitting on the bench. And then in January, if SmackDown's going to 3 hours, and
so
all temporary.
They're reversing each other.
Temporary, by the way. Dutch, explain this to me, right? Like I'm fine.
Wait a minute. Don't ask me to explain it to you.
So
I'm just listening. I'm learning from you guys.
So I understand October 7th through the end of the year, Raw is moving to 2 hours. So there's some give and take here, right? And that is all due to
Netflix. Netflix.
That's all due to the extension with USA to bridge to the Netflix deal in January. So Raw goes down to 2 hours temporarily, right? And then in January, it's going back up to 3 hours. And then SmackDown is going back up to 3 hours, or going to 3 hours in January. But apparently it's only for 6 months. And then they're going to just, I guess, wait and see. Like, if you're going to make the move, just make the move. I don't explain this to me like I'm 5. This is all confusing to me.
This is a question for Sid. It's not a question for me because I'm saying I don't even think they can answer the question. To tell you the truth, well, Sid, throw some knowledge in here and some sense.
Well, it's all about ad revenue, folks. USA wants to make their money back on the amount of money that they paid for SmackDown to come to the USA Network from Fox. I think it was what was it, like $800 million that they paid over a course of like the whole deal was like $800 million, because I know they got $1 billion for Netflix, but I think the deal with USA was close to like $800 million. So they want to make
what for 3-hour show for 3 months?
No, they want they for SmackDown to come to the USA Network. I think it was a 5-year deal. They get $800 million over the course of that whole entire deal. So they want to make that money back. And ad revenue for a 2-hour show is going to get you X amount of dollars. But I will also say a 3-hour show will get you more than those X amount of dollars. So it's all about the additional hour to run commercials, to run ads. That's what it's all about. That's what it comes down to. They're losing a 3-hour show in Monday Night Raw. They only signed a temporary deal because their current deal with USA Network for Monday Night Raw expires at the end of this month. So that's why starting in October, they're running a 2-hour show, because I believe that USA Network already had plans for their 10 p.m. hour slot on Mondays before WWE made the deal to keep them on USA Network until the end of the year when their Netflix deal starts in January. So they are basically replacing one 3-hour show with the other show getting an additional hour. That's what it's all about for the USA Network. And I will say, the update of, it's only a temporary thing for 6 hours. When USA Network sees the amount of money that they're getting for the 3-hour show, it will be a permanent thing.
Yeah,
because that's what they said. That's what they said after Raw 1000. They was like, Raw 1000 is just a 3-hour show. And then USA Network did the numbers and it was like, nope, it's 3 hours from here on out. And it's been 3 hours for the past 12 years. So I don't believe it's just going to be a 6-month test run. And then they'll see. Maybe if this was a WWE call, then yes, we could say, it's a test run to see if they're able to do it with SmackDown. I feel like this whole thing is a USA Network move. And when they see the dollar amount, it does not matter the quality of the show. It matters what the dollar amount is. They're going to make that 3 hours from here on out.
Dutch, from a creative standpoint, adding an 8th hour of programming, what does that do to a creative team? 7 hours of live television in a week is a lot. Adding an 8th hour. I mean, you got the roster to fill it. Can they come up with enough material to fill it?
Well, they may have to add some creative members, but a lot of those members are hitting on zero anyway, I think. because you probably, if you have 8 members, you have 4 who are really contributing, or 5, and the other 3 are just, agreeing with what those 5 have said. That's exactly the way it works. Because I've been on creative teams, you have 2 or 3 guys who the ideas all come from them. Even though you throw ideas in, we don't like that, we're going to go with this. So you have a power play inside a creative team. I don't care how many people you got on it. And the power players usually win out, no matter how strong the angle is that is suggested. So we'll see how many members on the creative team of WWE Raw right now. Guess.
I would say anywhere between 25 to 30.
Yeah, I was going to say at least a dozen. That would be. Well,
I was going to say 15 as a guess.
How many was there when you were working there?
2.5. I was the half. I would sit over there and I would write stuff down like I'd write stuff down, but I was playing the crossword puzzle. They didn't know that. So when they call on me, I said, hey, it damn sounds good to me. Do it. Run it. So who's the heel? You decide. It's not. I would just keep passing the buck. But no, creative team.
Like in 2013 when you were there, how many people were on the creative team?
3, 4. That's it.
Wow.
That was it. So we got to really hate each other really closely. So we'd leave. I said, I hate that bastard. Now I do too. And then the other 2 would say, I hate that Dutch. Oh, he's a no good bastard. So anyway, but that's the way it worked. But we did have some pretty decent ideas.
Frantic World asking, will WWE make NXT 3 hours? Probably not, but if the CW decides in a couple of years they want to add a 3rd hour, if they pay for it?
According to Sid, if it's a money, and it is a business, they can make money on making NXT 3 hours, they will.
But the whole thing with, and I'm not too sure because I don't really watch the CW, but it is a broadcast television show, so I would think CW runs some type of news at 10 p.m. Eastern. So that will avoid.
Well, they just got to change. They just going to have to change that crap.
They could always start the show at
the news to interfere with wrestling is not going to work. I'm going to tell them that.
The news always takes precedent. The news always takes precedent.
Damn right, Sid. I'm a full-time news anchor for anybody who doesn't know. Anyway, they can always start the show at 7. So there's always a wrap around that on that one, Sid. They could always just start.
Hey, man, they got syndication. They also got syndication on CW. I want to watch my.
CW has pumped a lot of money to churn out live sports programming. I know they added the ACC network. They have what's left of the Pac-12. They have inside the NFL now.
Adding the ACC network.
Well, not the network, but they added ACC football games.
Well, so that's a big income generator. ACC, those powerhouses.
Hey, considering what the CW had beforehand, Jesus, I don't even know what the CW had beforehand. They had Arrow. That was it. They had the Arrow cinematic.
Oh, Arrows.
That was it.
Yeah, Arrow was good. Arrow was good. Yeah, it was really good.
They had the Arrow,
but I heard it was good.
Few seasons were pretty good, and then it kind of jumped the shark.
But talk about the show. Talk about the show, Rick. Let's go.
All right. We open up SmackDown tonight with Jacob Fatu just beating the shit out of security guards backstage. That got a pretty good pop out of me. Do not pat down the bloodline. New rule for all security guards working at these arenas. We open up with the United States Championship.
But, okay, let's look at that a minute. They're beating up security.
Yes.
I mean, are these guys immune to the police? You know, when you beat up the security, wouldn't the police show up and wouldn't they take you out of there? See, that's not believable. They can push them and be aggressive. You'd have been better off.
We have been told from day one by Paul Heyman that these men are reckless. They are dangerous. They cannot be controlled. They cannot be controlled. And we saw that tonight. Now, is it realistic that they'd just be allowed to walk around the arena and kick the shit out of anybody they want? No, But I'll take you a Bloodline and I'll raise you a Lance Archer. How many times have I had to watch this man on freaking Collision beat the shit out of randos backstage? How many people have been accosted, assaulted in the NXT parking lot? This shit, you just get away with wrestling.
But that's different. They're attacking civilians. They're not attacking bona fide personnel of a building. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think. We saw Bronson Reed on Raw yeet a fan at Braun Strowman.
What is yeet a fan? What is yeet a fan?
Well, see, yeet before
what does yeet mean?
Yeet before Jey Uso took it over mean to chuck somebody.
Oh, okay.
You yeeted them.
Yeet.
Now Jey Uso is yeet.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywho.
Continue.
So sold out. Did you guys know the show was sold out tonight? I feel like that got mentioned about 20 times.
14,000. How much?
Whatever. 14,000 plus.
Sure was.
The 39th TV sellout.
Yep. There we go. Hey, that's pretty good. What week are we on? Like week 44 of the year, some crap like that. That's pretty dang good.
It's the 40th. Wait a minute. The 40th sellout since when? The year started?
Yeah.
39th sellout.
No, okay. That's good.
39 TV sellout just for a TV show. They have like more. I think it's like overall like 53 sellouts overall.
Pretty good. We open up with the United States Championship match tonight. It is the megastar LA Knight defending his championship against Andrade. This Sacramento crowd was hot for LA Knight early on in this one. Andrade got several near falls on this one. His patented double moonsault. He connected on a really sweet back elbow that got him a 2 count here. LA Knight, look, I thought this was a pretty good match. Obviously, there was the slip up with Knight going for the jump, but I thought they recovered beautifully from that with Andrade hitting him with the elbow. He goes for the missile drop kick. He misses. LA Knight hits the BFT for the 1-2-3. Congratulations, Andrade. You are the latest victor in the hit it and quit it sweepstakes. People are going to look at that and they're going to go, oh, they fucked up. But Dutch, shit happens. I thought they recovered nicely.
No, I think it was even with the screw up, it made sense, and they entered it right then. Boom, and it worked out. It worked out in LA Knight's favor. So, because I think people understand that you're not going to do every move perfectly. So he messed it up, not once, but twice, and he moved out of the drop kick, which is fine. And then we did the finish. I thought it was good. What do you make of the afterbirth, the aftermath of it, the shaking the hands and all that? What was that mean?
That was horrible. That was the only part. That was the only part I can't praise. I thought the match was very good, damn good matchup. Had the crowd on their feet, loud "This is awesome" chants. They were into both guys by the end of this, and it's kind of been like the Andrade kind of staple of he doesn't get that big of a reaction when he makes his entrance, but goddamn, by the end of his matches, they're into everything he's doing. He wins them over. That was probably the best execution of the double moonsault that he's done, because LA Knight like moved right into him, to landing on his feet and then doing the second moonsault. That looked great, especially with the wide shot that they did over the ring. It was shot beautifully. And yeah, I'm willing to get over the little slip at the end, because the match was just so well done. They had great chemistry together. But yeah, the post match, I don't know what they were. It was like LA Knight went into business for himself and Andrade went into business for himself at the same time. Like, no, you're gonna give me this handshake. You're gonna give me this handshake.
Yeah, so, I don't know if that was like LA Knight kind of being in character of like he doesn't trust anybody when a hand gets put in his face, kind of a situation where he's just like, no, I'm a loner. People cheer for me, but I'm not, I don't trust you. Whatever. I don't know what that was. It was kind of an awkward exchange.
But it made you notice it. I noticed it because he didn't do that often, right? He didn't offer. LA Knight didn't offer to shake hands. So I'm thinking, now where is this going? So they left something open there. I want us to pay attention to it, okay?
After the match, we go to commercial break. Well, first off, we got a backstage segment with Nia and Tiffany, which I thought was really good. Basically, Nia telling Tiffany, don't fuck up, or you're the one that's going to have to leave SmackDown. So that was a nice little message that was sent there. But we get back from.
I doubt if she said "don't fuck up." I doubt if she said that.
I paraphrased.
Okay. I just
want. He said, "Don't mess up."
I just want to get it correctly.
You can see how much of your gear you can fit in that Money in the Bank briefcase, and you can take your happy ass over to Raw or NXT.
Now he's really paraphrasing.
We get a backstage segment where Andrade is walking backstage. Carmelo Hayes comes up and said, "This is a comment that I know made you smile." He said Andrade choked like the Kings against the Lakers. Now explain that. I get the reference, but I don't know. Was that a series that happened this year or last year? Because I don't watch the NBA.
This year,
that's a series that happened, I think, 22 years ago in 2002.
Is that what he's referencing? Okay.
That's the main one that it's basically the same line that The Rock did back in like 2003. I'll be back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May. So yeah, it was basically the Kings versus the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals of 2002. Kings was up 3-2, and they lost that series, including losing Game 7 in Sacramento in Arco Arena. So yeah, I think that was Melo's reference. Melo's always great with the basketball reference, and I just love Melo, how cocky he is. You lost to this dude. Like, how you talking smack?
You lost to him three times. You lost to him 3 damn times, all of them clean as a sheet. And then what did he say? Put something about putting fries in a bag because you're washed. Okay, explain that one to me. All right, that one went over my head.
I think he was saying that you're going to be working the drive-through after this. Like you lost so bad, you're going to be working the drive-through. And no, the Kings did make the playoffs 2 years ago. Now I don't think they make it last year. If they did, I don't remember. But they lost 2 years ago to the Golden State Warriors. So he could have made a more relevant reference and say that choke like the Kings did 2 years ago against the Warriors. But hey, he picked up my Lakers, so that's all that matters to me. Thumbs up segment.
First off, let me just say that of course the Kings are going to choke, because the Kings used to be the Kansas City Royals, who used to be the Cincinnati Royals. So a Cincinnati sports team in the playoffs, of course they're going to screw it up. Anywho, we are going to be getting, by the way, they're going to be continuing this. They're going to be continuing this series now, because after the whole washed comment, of course, Andrade and Melo started brawling backstage. So the series is not done, Dutch. We are going to be getting Carmelo and Andrade 6 next week, which I'm sure will lead to Carmelo and Andrade 7 at some point, and maybe even 8 and 9 down the road. Are you ready for Carmelo and Andrade 6 next week?
Not quite. I think we would get Carmelo versus LA Knight first, and then bring Andrade in on that.
I mean, they already announced the match for next week, though.
Yeah, Melo gets the win over Andrade, and that sets up Melo to get a shot at LA Knight, and then you can save the 7th match for after they're done feuding over the U.S. Championship, or you could do 2 more matches, and the winner of the best of 7 is the #1 contender for the U.S. title.
Well, they had 5 matches, and they had some great matches. I don't know if that little legacy that they've left can be extended. 2 more matches. It'd have to be 2, because Andrade would have to tie it up to make the 7th match possible. But hey, it's wrestling, so we'll see.
SP3, I'm curious, because you're the guy who has the best memory on the panel. Have you enjoyed? Again, it's subjective, so I'm trying to think how I want to phrase it. Which series has been better for you so far? Has it been Andrade and Carmelo, or Sheamus and Claudio Castagnoli?
I would say this one. This one, because it feels like both guys are being elevated in the process. Sheamus and Claudio had good matches together, but I think I can tell, like, I could tell back then, what was it, like 8 years ago, that like after like 4 or 5 matches, I was like, this is probably gonna end with them teaming up together. I don't get that same feeling here. This seems like just a series that's elevating both guys at the same time. This seems more akin to a Booker T Chris Benoit series. I know we're not supposed to say that name all the time, but that is probably the best of 7 series that I referenced the most, because that was the first one that I was watching as a kid in WCW, and that elevated both guys from like mid-carders to like upper mid-card championship contender type guys at the same time, and that's what Melo and Andrade feels like.
All right, guys, we got Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns tonight meeting on the field of Georgia Tech.
Let me say one thing.
Yes.
Couldn't they have done this a lot more simpler? Just pull up to a building, go into a room, sit down at the table. But no, they have to walk out on the field, and they have Roman Reigns looking around the big stadium that he played in, and that's Cody's town. I mean, they went out of their way to make to make this a big deal, and they did, kind of. But I think they had a lot of wasted time.
Well, here's the thing.
For what they produced.
Here's the thing, Dutch. All right. So
I don't want to wait a minute. I hate you to start off. Well, here's the thing. Stupid.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying.
He's telling me.
I'm just
He
saying.
said, you're so stupid. Here's the thing. I don't know why you don't understand this. I don't know why I always got to tell you this stuff.
So
take that stupid red and white cap off. It looks stupid.
So we got people this week, all right, who have been complaining that AEW has rushed Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and that they have put no story into it whatsoever. And now we have you sitting here saying that WWE has wasted their time by putting too much story and too much history into this matchup at Bad Blood that is happening with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Like, is there a perfect balance that we can find here someplace, or is it just
all they would have to do is just shorten that down a little bit? You know what they're going to do. I mean, they're dragging it out, and it's well produced. I'm not saying.
Oh, it was great. It was a very
well produced, and I'm saying, okay, we got it. It's a big interview, and they go out in the middle of a stadium, and they have this talk. And you ever been in Georgia Tech Stadium?
I have not. I've been in Atlanta for all of like 3 hours.
Georgia Tech rarely sells out. Really. It's just not Georgia Tech. In the state of Georgia, the football team is Georgia. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And Georgia Tech, they're in that ACC that I think you mentioned a little bit earlier. They're not exactly the big cash cow, the ACC, and they hadn't had a winning record in a while. So
I'm assuming it's a similar dynamic to Ohio, right? Like Ohio, it's Ohio State, unless you're in Cincinnati, and then it's UC. So I'm assuming Georgia's the same way. If you're in Atlanta, it's Georgia Tech. If you're anywhere else in the state of Georgia, it's Go Dogs. So I'm assuming it's a very similar dynamic. But I did like Roman Reigns stepping into Cody's town, SP3, and just because that man played football there, that he bled and he sweat and he cried on that field. That made that field his, that made that stadium his, and by proxy, that made Atlanta his. And then he
does he own everything? He owns the WWE. He just owns everything.
I love the cockiness. I love the cockiness, and I love the arrogance of Roman Reigns knowing exactly who he is, even though he has lost everything. And that's what they really dove into this, is how much he has lost.
But he doesn't deliver that in a cocky manner. He delivers it as a matter of fact. And you kind of believe him. He's been on top of WWE for 3 years at least. And he's produced fantastic results. And now Cody is the one who's on the hot seat. He hasn't established himself like Roman Reigns has. I think what we saw here was almost two tweeners together. And I don't think you can move either one of them heel, but if they wanted to, it's a last resort, they could, but I don't think they even think about that.
I don't think Cody comes off as a tweener. Cody definitely comes off as like a white meat babyface. He's very much the white meat babyface of this scenario, and Roman is more of like a tweener, but more of like a cool anti-hero. Like you said, like Rick said, cockiness and arrogance. I thought of it as bravado. He just has that bravado, and it might be false bravado because
I'm
of everything
agreeing.
that he
I'm agreeing with Sid.
lost, but
Yeah.
that's what it came across to me, him saying that. And I love Cody's response of like, he's like, oh, that's nice. You played football here. He was like, my family has bled all throughout this city. He was like, this may be your stadium, this may be your field, but this is my home. And I love it going back and forth. And even at the point where Roman kind of takes the breath and lets down the false bravado, and he says, what do you want? Like he's basically kind of acquiescing to Cody and being like, okay, what do you want? What do we need to do to get on the same page before we get to bad blood? This was very well done. I will say though, very over the top, very dramatic with the background music. I felt like I was.
What is with Cody's nose all the time? I said, God, can he talk without doing that?
It felt less like a wrestling segment, and it wasn't as far as saying, oh, it was like a movie. No, it wasn't like a movie. It was like a Hype Williams music video. If y'all want an example of a Hype Williams music video, look up Nas "Hate Me Now." Just Nas, not the other guy that he did the song with. You'll find out something else if you look that up. But Nas "Hate Me Now." Look at that music video, and that's what this came across like. Even like the filters and everything that they did, it looked like one of those like 90s high budget $1 million music videos. Like, you know, it was a lot of money for everything that they did here. Roman coming out with 7 cars, like he was the president of the United States. Cody,
I love Cody calling him out on that too, like subtle.
How did Cody come in? An Uber? How did he show up?
He had a white Corvette.
Oh, okay.
The White Knight strolling into his hometown, you know. First off, there were a lot of things I liked from Cody's responses tonight. And it was great to kind of get him away from the audience, where he kind of falls into the tropes of, so insert town here. What do you guys want to talk about? And he runs down all the different storylines of what's going on, what he talks about. And then he gets interrupted. And, you know, we go into it was nice to kind of get him away from this and just the audience, I mean, and get him one-on-one with Roman. And Roman's talking about everything that he lost tonight. And then Cody's just like, yeah, I fucking told you that this was going to happen. This is exactly what I foretold was going to happen. You were going to lose your title. You're going to lose your bloodline. You're going to lose Jimmy. You're going to lose the wise man. By the way, keep both of those guys getting brought up again. Again, just keeping them out there in the ether that sooner or later these guys are going to pop up back on camera. But
so he turned into the Nostradamus just all of a sudden, predicting all these things. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Cody said, look, when I beat you, this is what's going to happen. Your entire support system is going to crumble, and all that is going to be left is you, Roman Reigns. And that's when Roman says, all right, what the hell do you want? Cody just wants to know, does this man have my back when we go in to Bad Blood in Atlanta in 2 weeks? Roman says yes, but then afterwards, I am coming back for what is mine, alluding to the WWE Championship. Cody gets in his way. He says, it is not yours to take, which could be a very, very loaded statement. Almost like Cody, and again, he did the nose snarl, right? Almost like Cody was breaking
the nose snarl. I like that.
Almost like Cody was breaking the fourth wall. Like, he knows who's taking the championship from him. Like that, I'm not sure if that's what they were going for, but that's what I read into that. Almost like he knows somebody else is taking that belt from him. But
I read what Roman said as breaking the fourth wall when he says, "You're in my way," and Cody moves out the way, and then he says, "You're in my way in life." So I was like, "Oh, that's the best line." That was the best line.
That was good.
I was trying to figure out what was the best line of this whole thing, but that was the final line was the best line of he basically is telling the viewer watching at home this Cody and Roman thing, it's only a temporary thing of them teaming up. They are forever rivals now. They are forever dance partners. They're going to be doing this little song and dance, them going back and forth. They are the two top guys. They are, I said it last week, they are Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. They are Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. They're 1A, 1B, and neither one of them want to be B. Both of them want to be A, and it's all about that. It's all about these two guys going back and forth, and whether it's in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel or Royal Rumble, sooner rather than later, we're getting Roman Cody 3, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, a lot of teasing, a lot of Easter eggs dropped in this one, but you definitely got the feeling walking away from this, Dutch, whether you thought it was over the top, whether you thought it was perfect, whether you thought everything surrounding this was necessary or not, you definitely got the feeling that there's a big third fight that is going to be coming sooner rather than later.
Hey, it didn't lessen my expectations for it. You know, it's a little irritating sometimes. You know where they're going, and they take their time. Of course, that's part of the build. I'm okay with that. And I can't say that just because I don't like it doesn't mean the fans don't like it. I'm not the arbiter of whether it's good or not. If they tune in and they like it, that's what counts. But well done, well produced, and wasn't a cheapie either.
Not cheap at all. This was very well. Like I said, I thought it was over the top, very dramatic, maybe a little bit overly dramatic. But in other words, I'm saying I loved it. I think it was very appropriate for everything I'm saying. Good, bad, and indifferent. It was exactly what it needed to be. And it did create more hype for the tag team matchup, but most of all, it created more hype for Roman and Cody and just firmly established that these are the two top guys in this business. Not just this company, but there's this entire business. There's no one bigger than Cody and Roman right now.
I'll agree with that.
We got Ozzy chiming in with a super chat. Ozzy, I see your comments about the Bengals every week. They do this every year. They start off slow. They will be fine. When they beat Washington by 3 touchdowns on Monday night, everything will be right in the world. I do wanted to talk about this, though. Miro going to WWE, he says. We had news that broke this morning, a report from Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, that Miro has asked for his release. For those who don't know, that's Rusev from his WWE days. He has asked from his release from AEW. Now, this is a very curious case here, SP3, and I'll ask Dutch about some of these some of this report here in a second, but a very curious case with Miro, who was being used very sparingly at a point in AEW. I believe he wanted to sign an extension. He signed a very short-term contract to go there in the first place, kind of test the waters out, right? He signs a contract extension in the spring of 2022. At that point, he had only wrestled a couple of matches in the last few months before he signed that extension. I think 3 matches between December of 2021 and when he signed that in the spring. And then from that point on, he has only wrestled in a 4-year extension that was paying him into the 7 figures, according to Fightful Select. He has wrestled 8 matches. 8. He has not wrestled since World's End, December 2023, against Andrade, who wrestled on this show tonight for the United States Championship, who came back to WWE a month later after that match, while Miro has been sitting on the sidelines. This is a very, very strange relationship from jump, almost, with Miro and AEW. And creative differences, reportedly a big part of this. But you look at what Miro has done when he has been on AEW TV, it's been great. The Redeemer, God's favorite champion. Like, he's been great when he's been on television. I just don't know what the disconnect is between him and the creative team at AEW.
That's Tony Khan. That's the disconnect. He's not seeing him as the fans saw him. So they're trying to make him something else. And you can't make anybody anything if you just leave them off TV. So you got to lay the blame or the fault at Tony Khan's feet. Because if he wanted to do something with him, he would. Apparently he doesn't. And I got enough money, I can just pay him to sit at home. And that's what he's been doing.
I mean, money never seems to be an option, but that seems strange to pay that guy that kind of coin and then not do anything of significance, or at least significant enough to appease him. Because, I mean, Miro could be, like, I don't know, but, I mean, if Miro's not agreeing to anything that you're pitching him, I mean, that's...
Wait a minute, who's the boss?
Tony is.
That's what I'm saying. If he's not agreeing to it, why doesn't Tony do something about it? Let him go. Just cut him loose. If he can, legally. Okay, you hire somebody and you say, hey, I want you to sweep the floor. Well, I'm not doing that. Well, I'm telling you to. I don't care. And then what are you going to do? If you walk off, then you tell him to do something else. He's not going to do that either if you don't like it. You can't run a wrestling business like that. You just can't do it. You really can't run any business like that, really. So I don't blame Miro, but I think he'd take would he get the same money from WWE?
I don't know.
You think so? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think he's getting a mil or more from WWE right now. He can come
What do
back.
you think? What's he getting from AEW?
They said in the 7 figures, so that has to be at least $1 million. So I don't think it's a weird case of, I don't agree with what Rick said. I don't think everything he's done on TV has been good. Like his last run when he tried to, get his wife on TV and they were running angles that they were doing like in 2019 in WWE, that was not good television. He was good. He had a great 6-month period in 2021 when he won the TNT championship and he was God's favorite champion and he was the redeemer. He gets hurt in the fall of 2021. He comes back for one matchup with Bryan Danielson. I was there live at Full Gear in 2021. That was very good. And then he was hurt again. And, by the time spring of 2022 comes, the reason why he didn't wrestle a lot of matches from December of 2021 to that point in 2022 is because he was hurt. But he signed the contract, signed a 4-year deal. He was in some bad angles that I definitely put on Tony Khan, but then he was given good pitches from what I heard in reports of, oh, we want you to feud and put over Hangman Adam Page. That's a good pitch, and that's something that he could have produced some good television with. But I also agree with Dutch and what Dutch's saying, that if you're the boss, you gotta make him do this. But it's also on the other hand, it's also Miro, who really, we've heard this report a dozen times that there are certain people in AEW that look down on AEW and just like, this is not WWE. This is the second promotion, and I'm better than this company overall. And I'll be honest, I like Miro. I think he's very talented. Do I think he's bigger than AEW? No. So I don't understand why he would have that type of attitude. But like I said before, I think it's on Tony Khan to either make the decision to either make him do what you want him to do or cut him loose. If you can't legally do that, you sit him at home, you pay him however you want to pay him until he's ready to, until he realizes that he's not going to get the push that he wants, and he either comes back or you have to let him go. And that's where we're at right now. I think it's a horrible case of wasting a lot of money on Tony Khan and AEW's part, but I think that there's a lot of fault to be spread around between Miro. I'm not on the. I disagree with Dutch of I don't blame Miro. I do blame Miro for some of this. I can't say that he's completely faultless. Does Tony Khan get most of the blame? 100%. But Miro does get some of the blame.
Oh, he does get, because he's refused to do it. He said, "No, that don't work for me, so I'm not going to do it." Oh, you're not? Okay. Let's find you a month's pay and see if you want to do it then. You're going to do that. Money walks and bullshit walks and money talks. So if you put it in the financial realm, then he might listen a little bit. But unless Tony has the cojones, I noticed I didn't say balls. If he has the cojones enough to stand up to him, that's the only way he can do it. But I think he considers, I think, Miro a friend. And he may be just paying him because he likes him. Who knows?
Who knows?
It's a strange company.
One thing is for sure. Tony Khan is not afraid to sit somebody on the bench and just let them wait out until they come to terms on something. I mean, you look, Miro is not the only high-profile guy who's sitting on the sidelines right now. You got Wardlow who's sitting on the sidelines right now. You got Ricky Starks who's sitting on the sidelines right now. And Tony Khan will just clam up and just talk about how much he loves them when he's asked about him, and won't say when they're coming back because maybe they're not coming back. I don't know.
How much money does he have just sitting on the bench doing nothing?
Probably a lot. I don't know. At least 7 figures worth. We know that much. Seven figures worth just sitting on the bench.
Over $10 million a year.
7 figures.
Is that seven?
No.
Is that 7 figures?
7 figures.
5 million. 5 million.
Seven figures is at least 6 zeros and a 1.
Yeah,
that's 7. That's 7 figures.
I'd say maybe somewhere in the ballpark of 2.5, 3 million. If I'm guessing, just a healthy sitting on the bench.
Between the 3 people that you just named, I would say that's about 2 million on the bench.
Oh, chicken feed. Who cares about
yeah, to be honest,
bullshit.
It ain't that. It ain't as much as you think it is.
Just put it on my card. What you got to do?
I ain't gonna
continue the
show.
show.
I ain't gonna sneeze at any of that. We got Roland Curtis chiming in with a super chat. Still think Hayes and Andrade will be best of 7 because Hayes makes NBA references all the time. Endeavor wants a real sports feel. I agree with you on the real sports feel, and I agree on the best of 7 at this point. I don't think they're stopping it at 6. That would just not make any sense whatsoever. After we get the over the top Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes segment tonight, we get Kevin Owens, who was watching it backstage. Byron Saxton asked him his thoughts on all of this. Kevin Owens does not answer him. We will come back to Kevin Owens after that. Apollo Crews makes quick work, of Giovanni Vinci once again, winning with a roll-up inside of 2 minutes. Giovanni then snaps and attacks Apollo post-match and hits him with a brain buster. Gentlemen, what the hell are we doing with Giovanni Vinci?
They don't know. They're just putting him out there. Is this his second appearance?
Yeah, his second match. He's lost to Apollo Crews twice in a grand total of like 2 minutes.
But look at how many times Carmelo Hayes lost before they did something.
Yeah, but Hayes was allowed to go out there and ball.
Dutch.
It don't matter. But I think this guy here doesn't have as much on the ball as Carmelo does.
I'm gonna get some ink for Dutch, and I'm gonna give him his stamp so he can stamp Giovanni Vinci with the same thing that he stamped the Maximum Male Models 2 years ago. DOA, dead on arrival. That's what Giovanni Vinci is right now. He is DOA.
You hear that? We're gonna stamp it. Oh, I'm agreeing with you. I just don't know. Nobody knows. I don't think they know.
I mean, I hate to say it, but
you do not. You want to say it.
No,
you're dying to say it.
This feels like Triple H's father-in-law's creative. Like that's what this feels like. This just feels like a waste of my time and a waste of Giovanni Vinci's time. Strut him out. You do all these vignettes. You make the guy look like $1 million. Literally, he's driving around Italy in expensive sport cars. He's dressed up. He looks like $1 million, and then he's 10 cents in the ring. Like, you make him look like a total goof and an idiot, losing because he's trying to take his robe off like 2 weeks ago, whenever the hell that match was. He gets rolled up by Apollo and he gets beat. Looks like a total goof. Tonight, fair fight, gets beat in 2 minutes. Looks like a total goof. And at least he attacked him at the end of it and hit it with a brain buster, but I don't know what the end game here is.
But you can tell he didn't come with the robe or whatever he had on this week. He come prepared. He come ready to go and got beat anyway.
Yeah, he still lost.
Yeah. So maybe just a loser.
It would be one thing if this was like, say, Andrade he's facing, and this is Andrade that beats him twice like this. That's one thing, because Andrade is getting over with the crowd, or at least I'm not trying to put him, against any of like the top babyface, your LA Knights, your Kevin Owens, but Andrade, he's really in that middle section between but Apollo Crews, like y'all haven't gave us not a one reason to care about Apollo Crews, and he's the guy beating him right now. That's why I said he's DOA. He's dead on it right.
Well, when I saw him tonight, I was really disappointed that Baron Corbin wasn't with him.
I was too.
That means they may have shit canned him too. He may be off to the side.
Nah,
So who knows?
He'll probably face Giovanni in 2 weeks because we're not going to see Apollo after the Brainbuster. Corbin was wrestling on had a dark match tonight, by the way. So anywho, we after all that happened and ate up about 3 minutes of TV time, KO is pestered by Byron Saxton backstage again. KO, like everybody does, ignored Byron, but he at least did it in a friendly way. And he said, if I'm going to talk about this, I might as well go out to the ring. He gets a mic, and before he can even say anything, he gets interrupted by the Bloodline, and they gave Tama Tonga the mic tonight because Solo Sikoa wasn't here. He's doing his
What
Tommy
the
Davidson.
hell was that?
Doing his Tommy Davidson impersonation tonight. Dutch, what do you think of Tama Tonga on the microphone?
Fantastic. I loved it. I like his entrance when he's lurking out there and he's half crawling and then get that. But I like when, when Kevin Owens got to talking, he said, hey, let's just speed this along. And they went into it. And that makes me say, okay, if you know they're going to beat your ass, why wouldn't you come prepared? Why wouldn't you bring a stick, bring something, bring some mace, bring something. Hey, mace, they hadn't tried mace in a while. They should use that. But anyway.
Well, I think Kevin wasn't assuming that the Bloodline was, and maybe that was dumb on his part because the Bloodline's been whooping his ass for 4 years at this point, but he was going out there to cut a promo. He wasn't assuming that the Bloodline were going to swarm on him with a 3-on-1 attack. Maybe he is.
But didn't he throw his mic down waiting on him?
Well, once they had interrupted him, yeah. And that's where I like Kevin Owens at that point because he's just like, he's accepted the inevitable, almost like immediately. He's accepted what is about to happen to him, and he's just like, I don't have all night. Let's get this shit over with.
What happened to the smart baby faces? If I saw 3 guys like them coming at me, hey, there's a whole side that's unguarded. I'd haul ass around the other side. I think the people would pop. And they get there and there's nothing there. And he's waving back there, hey, you missed me. You missed me. He's gone again.
But KO's
Coyote, what's his name? Was the Coyote that run from
Wiley
all the
Coyote?
Time? What was his name?
Wiley Coyote.
Oh, Wiley. Yeah, just like him. Beep, 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 he's gone.
That was Roadrunner who ran from Wiley Coyote.
Well, whatever. It was one of them. You see how he is, Sid. He's too much.
But SP3 KO's MO has always been, I'm gonna fight. That's just who he is. He's gonna fight 3-on-1, 2-on-1. Luckily for KO, he had backup in the form of DIY tonight. Unfortunately for DIY tonight, they were the backup for Kevin Owens, and they got their asses whooped on multiple occasions tonight. But there's a melee that breaks out. Nick Aldis comes down and he says, hey, I'm getting tired of this, so we're going to have a 6-man tag team match, and that's going to be our main event.
Well, who would have thought that?
Yeah, that's going to be our main event later on tonight. But spoiler alert, it wasn't the main event that we got tonight.
So what happened to DIY? I missed that. Did they get beat up in the back?
Yes, they did. I love DIY. I love Johnny Gargano. He's one of my favorites, especially he has a great connection with the fans. Tommaso Ciampa's very talented. But I'm sorry, them coming out to make the save to no reaction made me really sad.
Yeah,
made me really sad.
That should tell you something because they're not hitting the people. They're not connecting with the people, the fans.
I think they haven't been given a chance to. Like you had them, they got their biggest reaction when they win the WWE Tag Team titles. Yeah, basically did nothing with them for a month, and then just had them drop it to the Bloodline. What do you expect? What do you expect at that point?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just reporting the results.
I know, Dutch. No, I'm not harsh at you. I'm playing at WWE.
That hurts my feelings.
The thing that bothered me about that whole exchange, right, is you put the tag team titles on DIY because you want a babyface tag team to drop to the Bloodline. All right, fine, whatever. We'll make them a big part of the Bloodline story from jump. You had Johnny Gargano get pinned in his hometown of Cleveland and then you just completely leave DIY off of SummerSlam. Like, why could DIY not have gotten involved when everybody who's been involved in the Bloodline storyline got involved in the main event of SummerSlam? You could have had Johnny and Ciampa put them in that position and say, hey, by the way, these guys matter, and they're going to be sticking around in this Bloodline storyline. But they didn't do that. They completely left them off the show. Like, they weren't significant enough to put on the show, which sucked for Johnny too, because all that man ever dreamed about was doing something wrestling related in Cleveland Brown Stadium, and he didn't get the chance to. That's still bothers the hell out of me that they didn't do that.
I think DIY, do it yourself, I guess. I don't think they're going to get over, period. I just don't. They don't have the chemistry.
I don't have faith anymore in them to try to get them over now.
Nope, I'm agreeing with Sid. Now, Rick, you believe they'll get over?
At this rate, look,
but hell,
the path that they're on now, it's hard to be optimistic.
Yep,
it's hard.
They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it.
I did want to mention that WWE lied to us tonight, because I think during the main event they said that Kevin Owens has never pinned anyone from the Bloodline, and I just looked it up. He has pinned Jey Uso on several occasions, and he pinned Jimmy Uso on several occasions. So if they meant to say he's never pinned any current member of the Bloodline, to be fair, the 3 people that he was in the ring against have only been here for 6 months. So,
so technically they were right.
No, if they had said any current member of the Bloodline, he has not pinned in the past 4 years. But they said in the past 4 years, he's never gotten a pinfall victory over the Bloodline. And I looked it up. He has gotten several times over Jey Uso, several times over Jimmy Uso. He beat Sami Zayn when he was in the Bloodline. Like, yeah.
That's true.
He's pinned them. He pinned them as well, because I looked up. True. I was like, let me specify if this is a DQ loss, a count-out loss. I was like, nope, these are pinfalls. Okay, cool.
Well,
I want everybody that's listening to the show, write WWE and tell them this fact that Sid just laid out for us. I want you to burn them up.
They actually lied to us
all
twice.
4 of you.
They actually lied to us twice, because they did that. And then they promised us tonight that we were either going to have a number 1 contender for the WWE Women's Championship at Bad Blood against Nia Jax, or Bayley or Naomi would have to leave SmackDown because they would have lost this Tornado Tag Team match tonight. So naturally, neither of those 2 things ended up happening. Total chaos in this one. A couple of clunky spots, but I had fun watching this one. And both Bayley and Naomi end up pinning Nia Jax in this one. All right, so Tiffany ends up getting knocked to the outside. Naomi picks up Bayley for a Samoan drop, and Bayley cradles her into a crucifix. Naomi jumps over and covers her as well, but her feet get caught up in the rope. So technically, Naomi's pin should not have counted. Like that pinfall should not have counted. Jessica Carr should not have counted the 3. Naomi did her best to tuck the feet in. Regardless, Jessica Carr, knowing that was the finish of the match, it was just poor ring position all around on this one. She counts.
Yeah, because I was wondering why Nia did the Samoan drop so close to the ropes anyway.
I don't know. I don't know. It was
because she was center ring and then stepped closer to the ropes. Like it was weird the way they even like by design and hey. I thought that whole finish was really
should have brought Bayley back to the center of the ring after.
I thought the match was fun, but the finish just looked really bad.
Yeah, it was clunky, and even the crowd was like, yeah,
I thought the match was kind of clumsy and disjointed. It didn't look like they were really snapping to it on this one. So,
I mean, there were even a couple of spots where it was like Bayley was directing. You could see Bayley directing traffic, like trying to get people into the spots that they were supposed to be in. Which, hey, that's Bayley's a ring general, so she's gonna get people in the right spots for those moments. But yeah, the ring positioning was off. Regardless, the match ends. Both Bayley and Naomi get the pinfall. So you would presume that Bayley and Naomi would both get the shot and they just make it a triple threat, right? Well, no, apparently, Dutch, this is Highlander because Nick Aldis says there can only be one. And so now, when they could have done this week, Naomi and Bayley are going to be wrestling next week to determine the number one contender. What the hell was the point of tonight?
I have no idea, but I figured there was going to be a double pin somewhere, and then we're going to have to choose from that. But maybe I didn't think it far enough, because now they got another week to cover, and then till we get a winner. So, but that's what wrestling's for. I don't know where they're going, and they may surprise me. I hope they do.
So I accurately predicted the double pin this week. I think I'm going to accurately predict the result for next week. Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton interfere for a no contest, and then it becomes a triple threat.
Anyway,
they're just dragging this out for an extra week. That's
what I think. Tiffany and Nia Jax interfere in the match and turn it into a three-way. That's what I think. Was that what you said, Sid? Oh, I was thinking that anyway. But anyway,
y'all have given me a headache right here.
Hey, you're the leader of this. Let's go. Come on, keep it moving. Keep it moving.
If that comes to fruition, I'm not doing the show next week. All right. Anyway, so
you would do what they tell you to do, Rick, with a big smile on your face.
You know what would give me a smile on my face? If my garbage men look like Chelsea Green. We see her training for her dumpster match with Me Chin next week. Dutch, this may be
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, yes. 2 weeks in Nashville, October 4th.
You know why I know that? It's because Michael Cole did some of Tony Khan's favorite nose candy before he started promoting this dumpster match.
God.
He's like, we're in Trashville. We're in
Trashville. And he just went nuts on that.
Michael was having some fun. I can't.
For Miss Green, it was a very good display of her talents and kind of a bullshit match that she would excel in. It'll be good because I can't tell you what's going to go on, and she doesn't even know. But it'll be a good one. I'll tell you that.
SP3, I love where she hears a rumbling in the dumpster and she's like, "Oh, Me Chin, is that you? Are you in there already?" And then she gets bit by a freaking raccoon and she's like, "You're going to pay for this. You're going to pay for what you did to me."
I have to face her in her home. This is her home.
Chelsea can make anything work. I think that was arguably the thing I enjoyed the most on the show tonight. She's just so damn good. We get our main event tonight. We get the Bloodline taking out DIY ahead of the match. So now it looks like it's going to be 3-on-1. But luckily for Kevin Owens, the Bloodline is just pissing off everybody. And we get the Street Profits who come out, and it ends up being completely different six-man tag team match.
I've seen this matchup like 87 times in the past 3 weeks.
So
it's like
I've dreamed about it.
Oh my God. It's like KO and the Street Profits versus the Bloodline. And they've literally gave us the same result on multiple occasions. Because I think the last time they did a 6-man in the main event with Kevin Owens and the Street Profits versus the Bloodline, it went to a lame DQ finish of, the Bloodline's kicking too much ass. Let's DQ them.
Yeah, tonight was especially lame. They chucked Kevin Owens into the steel steps. What? It's a part of the ring. It's a part of the ring. You can't pick up the steps and hit him with it, but you can throw him into it. No ref in their right mind. That's like throwing a pass interference play on 4th and 16 against the Chiefs. Never mind. Sorry. That's like nobody would do that.
To be fair, I think the DQ was more for them breaking up the pin, which is like the stupidest thing that WWE doesn't emphasize or get over at all, that there is supposed to be, because I've heard on different podcasts that people that have insider information said, WWE has a pin break rule in tag team matches. You can only break up one pin, and they did it back to back. So on the second breakup of the pin, that's where they did the DQ.
I never heard that.
They never say it on commentary. They never get it over at all. They just do it randomly every now and then, every couple of months. They do this where they do a lame DQ finish, and you're so confused because they never talk about that rule.
Hell, they could come up with any. They could come up with any rules and just make them up on the spot. They say, "Oh, it was instituted 18 months ago." Well, hell, we don't know. Nobody's going to look up a rule 18 months ago, and it's wrestling, so anything goes, buddy.
I did not like the finish. Obviously, I thought that was weak sauce, but I will say this much: this was a needed ass whipping segment tonight for the Bloodline, because they have been the Tongans especially, and I really appreciated Michael Cole putting them over on commentary as 7-time IWGP Tag Team Champions. Like they did some make goods, what we call in the radio business. They did some make goods tonight for them, because these guys have become the jobbers to the stars over the last few weeks with how they've been bumped. They've been the bump guys, the Bloodline bump guys for the last several weeks. Tonight, they looked more like the guys that Paul Heyman told us they were: dangerous, unpredictable. You can't judge what they're going to be doing.
That scares.
There are a couple of hyenas, right? Like
that scares me right off the bat. Somebody comes at me going, I'm gone.
Oh, I'm running.
I'm running. Hell, I'm out of there. Yeah.
I ain't doing that.
I want them to be like, Solo. Say it again. Solo.
So, excuse me. So after the DQ, they lay everybody out. The Bloodline does. They're getting ready to do the triple power bomb through the announcer's desk on Kevin Owens. And then poor DIY, as if their night wasn't bad enough, they hobble their happy asses down there to try to make the save, but they're not 100%, and they get dispatched quickly. And then Kevin Owens is just getting beat on and beat on and beat on. And we're a minute away from this show supposed to end. And then, holy shit, Cody's music hits. Like, god dang, dude, took you long enough? Were you stuck in security taking that flight from Atlanta? What took you so damn long?
Yo, he let everybody get their ass kicked for like an hour. 5 people going to the hospital, just whooping their ass.
He was in catering.
He's like, you know what? I think it's time for me to go out.
No, he could have come out there, lit a cigarette, and then threw it down, put it out, and then walked to the ring.
It's like he did one segment with Roman Reigns, and then he decided to become him and not watch the show. Like, that's just something he all of a sudden it's like, I picture like, I need a segment like next week of somebody telling Cody backstage, hey, you know, everybody's getting murdered out there. And I was like, oh shit. And he runs out there and does something.
Oh yeah.
They could have had him in the white car that he pulled up to Georgia Tech in, and just show him arriving at the building. And then he comes
arriving at 9:59 for the 8 o'clock show.
Yep. 9:59. He shows up. He's like, "Yeah, I was just done in Georgia Tech," and hey, your friends out there getting beat up.
Late? Am I late?
He runs out.
I mean, so
that would have been a good finish.
The only thing I really liked about this, because at least Cody came prepared. Maybe he got lost trying to find a chair, right? Because he came down there prepared. He was the smart baby face tonight.
What was he limping for?
Nah, he just runs weird.
No, he was limping.
Cody just runs weird.
Was he limping?
I don't know.
Going into the ring? Oh yeah.
I'm not sure.
Thinking, what the hell? What is he limping for? Nothing's happened to him on that show. Unless somebody whipped his ass yesterday, and he's limping
with that
from
knee injury that he told Kevin Owens was no big.
Yeah, but he was limping from the hip, not from the knee. He's a different type of limp.
I don't know. He's just awkward when he runs. Like that's been his MO for a while. But anyway, so he comes down there with a chair. Whoever he hit in the face with it, that was hilarious. That absolutely made me just yeeted the chair. See how I use that word, Dutch? Yeeted the chair right into that man's face.
I got it. That's one of my favorite words.
I believe that was Tongaloa that he cracked in the face, so he'll probably have an eye patch again next week. But he gets in the ring, and this is what I liked about this. They keep teasing that KO is going to do something. That man looked like he wanted to haul off and crack Cody Rhodes right over the head. I thought we were going to get a Mick Foley action tonight. Unprotected chair shot to the head, because that's what it looked like Kevin Owens wanted to do. He didn't swing it. And then I thought they were going to pull that that lower third BS that they used to do in NXT. They hug it out, then they put the show's over, and then Cody turns his back again, and I'm like, oh, are they gonna do it now? Are they gonna do it now? Nope, they didn't do it. So they keep teasing it, Dutch. They keep teasing that Kevin Owens is gonna turn on Cody Rhodes. Does he actually do it?
When's his contract up?
February.
Yeah, a couple more months. But they're teasing it, so it's out there now. So we gotta stop and think. Is Kevin pissed off because Cody was late helping him? See what I mean? So Kevin said, "Hey,
is it just the latest little bit? It's not if Cody. Excuse me. Sorry, SP3. If Kevin does turn on Cody, I feel like it's not going to be one big thing. It's going to be an accumulation of multiple frustrations that finally brings him to a boiling point. If he does it."
Yeah, it's basically, the saying is, enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, friend that becomes friends with my enemy is now my enemy. That's Kevin Owens thinking. It's the cherry on top. It has to do with him kind of going to his automatic kind of fallback, which is always betray his friends, as well as his frustration losing the Cody at Bash in Berlin. And then the cherry on top of all of that is the guy he's always said, I have your back against the Bloodline. He's had his back against the Bloodline this whole time, but now he's kind of been brushed aside for Cody to team up with Roman against the Bloodline. So it has everything to do with the Roman Reigns of it all, because Roman is his real enemy, and Kevin Owens is the guy who has the best memory and the longest memory, and his memories of Roman Reigns are all bad. So to see his friend Cody Rhodes aligning with Roman Reigns, that's the turning point. That's the straw that broke the camel's back for him.
So whatever happens when they piece all this together, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So it'll have a new meaning when we get to it, if we get to it. But that's the beauty of watching wrestling. Are they going to do it, or are they not going to do it?
What I would love for is they do one more tease of him doing it, and we think this is going to be it. We think it's going to be it. But then Randy comes out and he RKOs Cody and stops Kevin Owens from doing it. He turns on Cody before Kevin can. So Kevin then has his whole issue of, do I turn on Cody or do I fight against Randy, my other friend? Like, I think that would be cool to kind of just throw a wrench into what we're all predicting here, is have Randy just come in out of nowhere, who's kind of been disjointed from this whole story. Because I was asking also at one point during the night, I was like, where did Randy go? I was like, Randy was just here. He just came back last week.
That's who I was expecting to come out at the end, not Cody. I'm like, oh, well, Cody's not here tonight. He's in Georgia. Okay, that makes sense. So Cody's not going to come out. Cue Randy's music anytime now. And then Cody comes out late, but he comes out. So Randy being absent tonight is suspicious. And I'm with you. I'm leaning more towards this being a red herring. I look at KO being upset.
Is that a fish?
It's a, hey, pay attention to this over here, because this is definitely going to happen. And then boom, you missed
misdirection
over here.
Misdirection.
Yep. I think they are really leaning into the misdirection here with KO. They want to tease it to be KO, and it's going to end up being Randy or some other form. I think you could either play it off, depending on which way they want to go. It can be exactly what you laid out. Kevin Owens got pissed at the fact that Cody and Roman are now teaming together. They're buddy. He could be upset at that. Or he very well, SP3, could have been upset at the end of that video at the thought of Roman Reigns getting another shot at the WWE Championship and becoming the WWE Champion again. It could be something as simple as that if they wanted to take that avenue there. So I don't know what it ultimately is going to be, but they have my attention as far as what Kevin Owens is going to do as a character. Last question for you guys tonight. What do you think Kevin Owens does as a performer with his contract being up in February? We did have Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select report this week that WWE has approached Kevin Owens about a new contract extension. No word on anything being imminent. But they are at least talking. The communication channels have been open about trying to sign him to an extension, and for what it's worth, about 15 other people in the company right now, because there are several people who have I think the Street Profits contracts are up at the end of this year as well. So there's a lot of talent on SmackDown right now whose contracts are coming up. Ooh, SP3, dip your toe into the water. What are you feeling on this one? Do you think Kevin goes or he stays?
My gut says he stays. Do I think I think he should run it out until his contract expires and hear from both sides, play both sides against each other so he can get the biggest money deal that he can. But I think Kevin is too loyal to WWE and that he'll just re-sign before the end of the year.
My turn.
Yes.
I say he stays. Even though he may get a better deal with AEW, I think he likes WWE, made his name there. And I think there's more opportunities with him in WWE now than what AEW could produce. So I think he stays. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Just watching him in multiple interviews and having the chance to talk to him myself, I just get the vibe that he doesn't see himself going anywhere right now. I feel like he is just he feels at home in WWE. There are so many, he talks openly about all of the friends and the family members that he had made inside of the company, and he does not see himself right now. He doesn't know where he would be right now, not seeing them week in and week out. So I think the family type atmosphere with WWE, that's the vibe I get with him. I don't feel like he's going to go anywhere. I think he'll thrive whichever company he signs for. I don't think that's the big deal. But as far as the company, I really don't. WWE for 10 years now at this point. Like he's also done everything that there is to do. I mean, outside of like winning the Royal Rumble or WWE Championship, I'd love to see him win another world title one day. He's way overdue for that.
If he signed with AEW, I see him just flatlining. Period.
I don't
know. He's a part of that group of guys that he really made his name in Ring of Honor. And Tony Khan has a hard on for everyone who was a part of that golden age of Ring of Honor. And with Bryan Danielson,
are you saying this creatively or financially?
Let me finish. When Bryan Danielson going out of the company, I think that's Kevin Steen will fit in very nicely, taking that spot, and he would be a top guy from day one.
Instantly,
he would be treated like a Bryan Danielson, and he would be in high-profile matches in AEW. He'll have all the dream matches. He'll have the creative control to do whatever he wants. He does have also friends that are like family members in the Young Bucks that work in AEW, and he has the Kenny Omega matches, the Will Ospreay matches, the Okadas, the Swerve Strickland, the Hangman Adam Page. That's good for a 3-year deal with Tony Khan, who's Tony Khan's going to probably pay him like $3 million a year. So, yeah, I think that he is the type of performer, one of the rare performers on either company that I think would thrive in WWE or AEW.
He fits both styles. He fits absolutely both styles.
So you're both disagreeing with me.
Yeah. I think he'd come in and he'd be AEW world champion inside of a year. And I think he would be heavily paid. I think he would thrive in the matches, and I think he would be heavily, heavily pushed in AEW.
Oh, I believe that too, but it's the way you get pushed. I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it. I've seen, people go over there and just die. Literally, they just die. Not die physically, but
who's besides the people that we mentioned, like a Rusev, like that came from WWE that died in AEW.
Yeah, and he's not the only one. Look at Edge. He's not hitting on anything right now.
Well, he's hurt.
Well, Edge is hurt.
I don't care. Before he was hurt, he wasn't hitting on nothing.
He was TNT champion.
Who gives a crap?
He was in one of the best storylines in the company with Christian Cage. That was drawing ratings. That were doing well with the ratings as well.
Oh, stop it. They may have drawn a few ratings, but I think he was way, way down from his position in WWE.
Now, to Dutch's
he wasn't doing anything in WWE. He was in a 2-year
because his contract was coming up. All right.
No, he
There
was
we-
feuding with the
They've
WWE
teamed
for
up.
2 years.
To
Hey, it's
Dutch's point, to
It's
play
just,
devil's
it's
advocate,
just an opinion.
to Dutch's point,
No,
there are some
Calm
other
the
guys.
hell down before I have to come through this screen.
There are guys in AEW that
get
when
the
they
crap
went
beat
over
out of
from
me.
WWE, I thought would have been in a much better position than they are right now. Guys like an Aleister Black, guys like a Keith Lee, guys like a Miro, all of them different circumstances from where they're not currently at the top of the card. But when those guys came over, I was like, okay, well, now here's their chance to ascend to the top of the card when they didn't get that opportunity in WWE. It has not happened yet for varying circumstances. I do not believe that would be the case with Kevin Owens if he went over to AEW. I don't believe he would fall into that category. All right, last question. Enthusiastic Railline streamer, excuse me. Do you guys see any
I'll do it.
do you guys see any returns happening at Bad Blood? I do not at this point. But yeah, I'd say Jimmy Uso, maybe. But at this point, I don't. Any thoughts, guys?
Maybe. Well, he's the only one. Who else is out that needs to come back? Name them.
Paul Heyman.
Hey, I don't think it's time for him yet, but who knows? That's why we watch it.
I mean, the only thing that I could think of, if you want to go into shock factor, could you bring AJ Lee out for a pop to help CM Punk beat Drew McIntyre? You could. Do I think they do that? No, probably not. But you bring Larry the Dog.
I thought
They'll have Larry the Dog show up and help CM Punk win the Hell in a Cell.
What kind of dog is Larry the Dog?
A great one.
Is it a Doberman? Is it a German Shepherd?
No, it's a tiny dog.
Pit bull?
I don't know what kind it is. It's a tiny dog. Roland Curtis, Charlotte Flair will be out longer period than expected. Yes, she's not going to be, according to reports, she's not going to be making that 9-month figure that they gave us last year. Apparently, that was a very optimistic timeline. Unfortunately, she may be out until 2025. All right, guys, we are way over on time. We'll be back next week.
You sure are. We need
Dutch,
to be paid overtime with you, Rick.
Damn, you're all the one who kept talking.
Did we keep talking, or was it Rick? Rick's the leader.
You're the leader, Rick.
It's up to you for time management.
All right, there you go. There's your time management. I'm gonna mute Dutch to end the show. Have a great weekend, everybody.